That Buckingham Palace. It's another one of the poems.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hugh Hatrick Show with my long-time special guest. It is Rue. How are you doing?
Very special, as always. As we were talking about German things, I've got my arm bent. Guten armband.
Yes. Well, it's good to see you. And what a week of races.
Before anybody corrects that pronunciation, I know it's Guten Abend. I know. I used to live there. Okay. Carry on. Sorry, I interrupted. Carry on.
We have Formula One, where, of course, now they're on a break, but there is a bit of news about that because, of course, Carlos Sainz has now signed for Williams. So he is going to go there next year, which is good. Simon has joined us, and DTR as well. Good to see you. And that we'll need to get you an invite.
Audi. He had the possibility of Audi, Alpina, and Alpine, or whatever, and Williams. And he's gone. I've seen a few videos and heard a few podcasts about it. And he's basically, Audi have been having all sorts of problems, and they've changed their management. They've now got Binotto, ex-Ferrari boss, running the whole team, and they've got Andreas Seidel, who moved from McLaren. No, Andreas Seidel moved from McLaren to do Audi, but he's been sacked, and they've got one of the top engineers in Jonathan Wheatley, I think his name is, from Red Bull. He's going to be the team principal, running the team, actually running the on-track side, running the team.
Yeah.
So Red Bull are in a bit of trouble because they're losing all their top people.
Yes, all of a sudden it's gone, hasn't it? In terms of they're all leaving for different things. I wonder, I mean, they say that the issue with Christian Horner and his little escapades earlier in the year may have had something to do with it. That's why Adrian Newey wanted to leave, because he wasn't very comfortable, seemingly, with all of that. So it's quite interesting as to what happens in the 3 weeks. This is now, if you're on holiday, you might just have a chance of meeting a Verstappen or meeting if you're in the Canaries or somewhere around about. You never know. You might just be in a nice, quiet cafe or a restaurant somewhere, and then you'll say, oh, that's somebody I know I've seen before.
Well, I'm guessing you'll have to see Hamilton. You're going to have to either go to like Barbados, where he's presumably his private jet runs on spring water and farts, because he wouldn't dare to create carbon dioxide like he tells everybody else they're not allowed to. You'd have to go there. You put some bling on, and you go to some kind of R&B rave. I don't know. Verstappen, I think you'll only meet online in some kind of genuinely
sim racing.
Sim racing.
Yeah, exactly. He'll be.
Who else?
I'm trying to think. Alonso, he'll be.
Oh, Alonso. I wonder what he does in his spare time. Do you think he just spends ages brushing his eyebrows?
Similarly, Verstappen wrote a very nice piece about him and said that actually Alonso is one of the best drivers out there, even though he's only had 2 world titles. But when you think how long he's been there for, and still how competitive he is, as soon as his car is at all having a chance, he's right at the top.
Well, look at 2007, Hugh. 2007, with McLaren should have definitely won the world championship. They lost by a point. Yeah. Hamilton and Alonso were on the same number of points. They were 1 point behind
Raikkonen in the end.
Raikkonen. And the only reason Raikkonen got the championship is because Alonso and Hamilton kept tripping over each other and peeing each other off. So that would have been either a rookie world championship for Hamilton or a 3rd world championship, as it should have been for Alonso. Very skillful driver.
It was
paired with Stroll.
Although he has out-qualified him. Did Stroll not out-qualify Alonso in the last few races?
He seemed... I missed a little bit, but then it seemed that after doing... Well, basically showing Stroll up to be useless, he seemed to be struggling. But you don't know what's going on behind us. I mean, billionaire daddy might have just said, right, loosen a few screws on this, eh? I don't know.
So, no, it's quite interesting. And, of course, we're going to have the Dutch Grand Prix when we go back, which has been very strong for Verstappen. But I wonder, the way the cars have caught up quite a bit, this could be quite interesting. It could maybe be McLaren, or it could be a Mercedes. You just never know who's going to be strong there. Now, DTR, are you saying that you have met Kimi Raikkonen? Because that was right after the question is who's met an F1 driver And Helen is here, of course. Good to see you, Helen, too. And everyone who's watching, if you haven't already put your name in the comments, then it's great to see you. And I hope you're enjoying the show. So you've met David Brabham, Ian. He drove for Simtech. Wow. I remember he seemed like a really nice man, actually. A really decent chap, David Brabham.
Is he...
He's the son of...
Still, yeah, but is he an Aussie? Or is he...
I'm not sure if he's half Australian and half British.
Yeah,
but...
like, where was he born? Where was he brought up? He would have had Aussie influences through his dad. I love watching interviews with his dad because he's so... He's not exuberant at all, is he? He's just so dry.
Yeah.
It's so Australian, it hurts.
I still think that, the characters of the 80s were incredible. That F1 era of like you had your Ken Tyrrell, you had Brown, all these people it was incredible. The character, the charisma and the intelligence of these guys and what they were able to create on sometimes a tiny budget and what they would do with their contracts with their drivers. I mean, these were intelligent people. They could absolutely
always. I mean, I love watching interviews with Ken Tyrrell because I'm a Jackie Stewart fan, and Jackie Stewart said that with Ken that he never had a contract.
Yeah.
He never had a contract. It was all done on a handshake, and he kept his word. Ken always kept his word. He was an honourable man, And it always cracks me up because their base was called the Woodshed because it was the family business of a wood yard. They literally built the cars in a woodshed. It's just those days. It was just, I mean, that's 60s, not 80s, but still.
Yeah. Now you're saying that Simon was saying that Ratzenberger. That's right. He was his teammate to Ratzenberger in 1994.
Okay.
Yeah, that was it. Was a very sad. I mean, that was you could see the emotion and everything they must have gone through when all of that happened on that May the 1st. Well, the 30th of April actually. That was the day I moved house. That was the day I moved from the Borders to Edinburgh, and I didn't have a television in my house at the time, and it was my mate. It was Jonathan who I phoned to say, I'm back up in Edinburgh. I finally got moved up, and then he said, "Did you see the news?" And I said, "No." I says one of the F1 drivers was killed, and it was Roland Ratzenberger. And that's when I first found out. And I thought,
same day or day after.
Rubens Barrichello had the big accident on the Friday.
That was the day before, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Friday practice, I think, and then it was Ratzenberger on the Saturday morning.
mile-an-hour crash.
Yeah. But that Simtech never looked. I mean, the cars were so low and the sides were so low. There was no drive. There was no head protection at all, and all of that. I was
showing Helen yesterday. I was showing her a quick YouTube video of Senna in the Lotus going around Monaco.
Yeah,
and I'm like, look how close they are to the front. There's a guy standing next to the car, and they're tiny.
Yeah, they were lovely though, weren't they? So beautiful. They were kind of like those kind of, now they're very big and kind of bloated.
Three pedals, and he keeps in his hand going down to change gear, and he's heel and towing and braking and everything else. Everything going on at Monaco. With that V6.
How many thousand? I always remember Murray Walker saying, "It's a long, long race. It's nearly 2 hours long." And then they go as they're about to start. And when I went to Monaco a few years ago, I tried to take a picture and a video of being right down on the ground, on the grid, because there's a street, of course, there's traffic.
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
Jump out. You have to kind of jump out when the traffic lights are on red, so you can kind of take a picture of what it would be like to be as low as the cars on the grid,
Oh, I know. So this is where all these modern Instagram people get there standing in the middle of the road doing a stupid dance thing from it. They saw your video.
Mine was not very successful.
Oh, Hugh Hatrick, he was stands in the middle of a very busy road, takes pictures. We can do that.
That would have been nice if anyone had seen it.
Very tight.
So that's the thing. So to be fair, I do think that the second part of the year is going to be exciting. I think we're going to see a lot more. I wonder how many races Verstappen is actually going to win now, because the way it's going, I think Lando will hopefully win some more. I think Piastri is going to certainly win some more. I think he is conquering. I think he's actually quicker than Lando.
He's now riding a wave, isn't he? Whereas Norris is sort of like in a bit of a, what's the technical term? A bit of a funk, isn't he?
I just wonder whether they'll be able to keep it up. But no, that's the thing.
The cars seems to be regarded as the fastest on the grid at the moment and the best all-rounder. The Mercedes is catching them up. The problem with the McLaren is, I think Simon was either Simon or Ian said last week that McLaren keep dropping the ball. They're not the team they used to be when they were used to winning, so they don't take chances.
It's not Ron Dennis. It's not Ron Dennis.
But I think towards the end, Ron Dennis was causing more harm than good.
But when he was on form for decades,
he transformed the team. He went from a mechanic to, and he was a detail person, wasn't he? He was very much disciplinarian and detail person. But I remember when it went to ITV, I remember I used to read the ITV F1 website for my news, And I can't remember the name of whoever was writing these articles, but they had these kind of like tongue-in-cheek, funny articles where they called Ron Dennis was Ron. It wasn't Harry Potter that invented that. It was this F1 site, Ron, with his bomber jacket. He was just like green bomber jacket. I could just imagine him going around as a skinhead, going around the factory. Told. And then his wife was writing crap books for children about Mac and Laren, the kiddie racing cars. John Todd was called Mr. Toad. It's just hilarious. I just remember it's kind of like Ron Dennis's character was that there was none. There was this like, well, Lewis is going to win, isn't it? It was just.
It was a thing, wasn't it? Well, you see now, Ian DTR said Max will win in Holland, and Carlos will win Monza, hopefully. So obviously a bit of a Ferrari fan there. And then Simon says, never underestimate the Red Bull. Still very capable of picking up wins McLaren throw away.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they but again, this is a bit of a problem because normally you would expect Red Bull to be, how can I put it, have daring, audacious strategies and get the win from it. Yeah. But they're kind of dropping the ball. I mean, Max was furious past two races. He's furious at what he considers to be them screwing up the strategy because he would have been further up. And then, of course, they've got Perez, who they've decided to keep for a bit.
Yeah, I can't understand that. I just can't understand that.
The cartels have got something on that.
Yeah, I think there is
something very strange going on. One of the podcasters on the race, they were joking and going, well, they don't think it's money because the amount of money that they will lose by not winning the the constructors championship is a lot more than anybody could pay. And I'm thinking, are you sure now? Because Mexican drug money is huge. But all a bit. But yeah, they seem really keen on keeping him on.
Yeah, I know it is quite funny.
They brought out a statement saying that they're going to do everything in their power to find out that they're letting him down, and they're doing everything in their power. So
try and help him. I know. It's quite a thing. It is quite a thing.
So apparently, if they don't, the rate they're losing. I mean, Max is going to win the drivers' championship. That's fairly. I think it'll be a miracle.
Well, I don't know. I know he's about 70 odd points ahead, isn't he? 76 points ahead. But I wonder. I think
about it. Okay, the closest one to him is Lando.
Yeah,
but
so they've got to start getting him.
Piastri are tripping over each other.
Yeah,
right. If they come line astern, constructors, fine, they'll creep up. But in terms of, again, it's the Alonso Hamilton situation. You've got two really good drivers, and they're not. This is why Schumacher wanted a number two driver.
Yeah,
because he wanted it written in the contract so that because he knew every point counts.
Yeah. No, that's it. That was the thing. It's
quite. He got 7 world championships. He wouldn't have had 7 world championships if he'd had someone of equal ability and status in the team next to him. But Ferrari have never had. They've never had.
No, they've struggled with that, haven't they?
Well, they've just never done it.
Yeah. Because even like Prost and Mansell used to argue over who was going to be number 1 status way back in 89 and 90.
Mansell went to the team under the understanding he was number 1.
Yeah.
And then they took on Prost and it was like, you're not the number 1 anymore. Get a last English. I don't know what you want to do.
It's quite a thing. So, shall we go to GT7 as we've put a big headline under GT7 this week? I've called it GT7's Joker Week. So with a big.
Shall I pull up that?
It's a wonderful picture at the front.
Which one?
Oh, the one of the Joker. It's got our thumbnail. The thumbnail of this show has got you and me and the Joker on the front.
Okay,
And that,
I didn't notice.
and Joaquin Phoenix on the front,
Joaquin.
Which I can't.
Hey man,
I can't wait for his second one.
Joaquin in this film. You like the Gladiator, innit? You guys like Joaquin. Joaquin. You got to sort of so many different ways of saying things. Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. Okay.
So there's quite a lot to talk about in terms of GT7. We've got a race A, which for the first time I'm probably not even bronze actually. I think I'm barely on bronze. I'm 6 seconds slower on time trial on race A, which is in the McRae Subaru at Sardinia. And I've been, to be fair, Woody Boy has given me some tips to try and sort things out. But at the moment, I haven't had another chance to drive it yet. So hopefully tomorrow I'll have another chance. I went back and spent another hour on the Subaru at Eiger Norwand. Hey, you got it right. And I was not even in. I equaled my time, but I couldn't go any quicker. And that was even using short shifting. Yeah, even using short shifting, I was still nowhere. You have a top 100 time on that. Wow, that is pretty good. That is pretty good. I did see your time there, so I'm completely at a loss, pretty much, as to the rally one and to the tarmac one. I think it's just that Subaru I just can't drive, because on race B, which is Group 3 at Suzuka, then I'm a wee bit better. I've got a time just about 2 minutes. A 2-minute lap, which is all right.
Race B Suzuka, isn't it?
Yeah, so I need to do a bit more on that.
Eiger in the
Scooby-Doo. Yeah.
Which they've still got 2 days of the time trial up. I'm very fast in that. I'm the top 23%. Very fast indeed.
It was something. So I'm gonna have to go back to that. I'm a complete loss. I know Woody Boy has given me some help, so I will try and go back to it and use that. And hopefully, they're saying that it's you really got to short shift that car. I think I've been revving it out far too much, and maybe that's the problem. Because when I looked at Tidgely's lap guide as well, he was in much higher gears, and his car was turning so easily.
Yeah, Woody was saying something on the lines of you got to short shift even at like 20%.
Yeah, which is crazy, you know.
But it's the 4-wheel drive. I've noticed that Subaru is a bit tail happy. I don't know if you noticed that, and a bit understeery at the same time.
I've just noticed a comment here from Simon. Hugh looking shocked is priceless. Well, the thing is, I had to get my wife to take that picture because I had my camera up here and it was a camera on the PC. And of course, it doesn't have an automatic. I thought you could set it so it would have a countdown and you could then take the picture.
You could probably get software to do that.
Yeah, probably, but this one it didn't. So Yvonne had to I had to put the mouse away so that she could see it, not be in the picture. And then she managed to move the mouse so it didn't take the picture. So I had to do it about 3 or 4 times, but we got it. We did get it in the end. Now DTR has a top 100 time on race A. My goodness, how did you do it? Mine is definitely not.
I'll tell you what. For as long as I've known Ian, he's been getting faster and faster and faster.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We used to have a lot of fun at the back. I don't think he was at the back. I think he was at the back on purpose, just having a laugh. But we used to have a lot of fun. And I think he'd have to slow down so much to be near wherever the hell I am. It's not so much at the back as in a different county. But to compare with everybody else, he'd just be like, bored now. Let's go and find a pigeon that goes quicker.
Well, I'll soon be joining you there. I think I'll soon be joining you at this rate.
Well, you laughed at me, having been, what was it, 13 seconds slower than you at Red Bull Ring in the Wet. You laughed at me.
I'm still
I went back on there and I improved markedly. I'm now only like 6 seconds behind you, so I got a lot quicker. But
I tried it again today and I got nowhere. But then, to be fair, I only had it. I think when you do the different types of time trials, one after the other, it's quite hard to kind of focus on it. So I was nowhere because I looked again at one of the time trial videos and I still couldn't get it. And they were actually using all the curbs that Tidge said don't use, but they were using all the curbs and keeping the speed up. And they were all on the intermediate tire rather than the wet tire, because Tidge had used the wet tire and got a very good time. But yeah, I'm nowhere at all.
Well, I was watching you when you were doing it, watching your live stream. You were trying the intermediates, you were trying the wets, you were trying. You even did what I suggested and tried the Porsche. I was only trying to think of something to help. I found the Porsche a lot more benign, and you were finding it difficult to get the power down in that Ferrari. I wanted to try. It said it was the GR3 cars. So I'm looking at them. Where's all my GR3 cars? I got a bunch of them. Yeah. I got the Jag. I got the Vantage. I got the. And then I've realised there's this list of the ones you're allowed to use, and it's not all of them. It's like
just a few.
I like the Beetle and the GTR and stuff like this.
Yeah. Well, they're saying the GTR saying the Porsche is awful now. I think it's had a bit of a nerf in the recent BOP changes that they made, and similarly the Supra is very good. But I don't think
tried the Supra. I'll have to try it again. I'm not sure it worked for me.
Yeah. Well, that was the Supra. Was that not the? Was it the? No, it was the race. It was the Honda that we used at the Spa time trial.
Yeah, it was the Honda R something.
Yeah, the kind of old F1.
So it's the original. It's the 1960s Honda that was quite successful.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it's not the V12 one, was it? It was the V8 one.
Yeah.
Because the V12 one was awful. It had John Surtees was their driver.
Right.
Slated it. And then it burnt because it was made of magnesium aluminium alloy, and it caught on fire. And there's footage. Simon will know; he will have seen it. There's footage of it burning. 272 RA272. Thanks, Ian. It burns a bit like the modern Prius burns. You know. I'm serious. It's a chemical fire. You know, like in school, you used to light magnesium and watch it go. It's a problem they had with early magnesium aluminium. When they talk about magnesium wheels, it's actually it's not magnesium, it's a magnesium aluminium alloy. And it burns, if you get it lit, it burns like a flare. Sparks coming off and everything. And the whole car was made of this stuff. Luckily, the driver got out because this thing was an inferno. And then they withdrew it because it was just so unsafe. So I'm not sure. Imagine if GT7 included that. When you crash, it goes.
That'd be quite dramatic. That'd be quite fun, actually. That'd be a bit more of a game over. That would be not just an invalidated lap.
The real racing driver simulator from 1960.
That'd be much more fun. So that's what I used to have in saloon cars on the Acorn A3000. When you hit the wall, it basically said it went bop. And then it came up with a little thing saying "You are dead." You know, that was dead. so that was it. Now Simon is kind of trying to wiggle in an invite.
Also, hello, T3 Tim.
Yes, he has managed to get a under a 117, and I'm struggling with a 120.2 or something like that.
That's because you're rubbish. If only you were as good as me, Hugh.
You know.
That was a joke,
the Olympics
everybody. In case anybody didn't know, that's a joke. Irony. I know irony is not.
But then you taught me how to go quicker. You taught me how to go quicker. Well, on ACC, remember? And when we used to do our big tournaments.
No, I wasn't teaching you how to go quicker. I was teaching you how not to get frustrated, go banzai and die. That's not the same thing. Because you start out fast. You know, you qualify in that. You know, out of 30, you qualify 15th. And then within... You've got that wonderful first lap Takuma Sato thing that he used to do. Banzai! You know, you'd get 2 bullets and then boom! 5 cars in the air and you're last. And then you got it out of your system. I'm okay now. I've calmed down. Breathe. Let's go. And then as soon as you'd make your way back up to 20th with damage, and it's like, you're doing really well. And then you get dead excited again, and bang! And all I did, I just stayed in your ear and went, nope, you don't need to do that. You need to keep it calm. You don't need to just keep the consistency. And you were, I don't know, you seemed to respond to it, and you nearly ended up third. You would have been third, but that idiot basically knocked you out the way, didn't he?
Yeah, that was at Nürburgring. and that we're having a really good battle. So DTR's done
In
a
the rain.
115.089 on race A. That's very good indeed, because like Tidsley's on a 114.7 and Woody Boy's on a 114.5.
So like like you get the Tiger Mums, they've got all the statistics about how high performing Asian families are. That there's this thing, that they came to America with nothing, and now they're the best paid, the highest qualified, but they've got the Tiger Mum thing, isn't it? I mean, there's the actress. I really like her. She's very, very pretty and everything. But I saw her in a TV show called The Newsroom. If anybody saw that, and she played this double PhD economist woman. It's a really, really good character. Loved it. But she's actually very clever, and she's a millionaire. She's been in a load of films. She's very successful, very beautiful, known across the world. But according to her, she's a complete disappointment to her mother and father because she didn't get a doctorate and she's not doing a proper job. So her older sister, who did get her actual doctorate and is now a professional, is much better.
Much
better. I'm just thinking I should let's pretend that Ian's my Asian son. This is not good enough.
A 115, but only a 115.
5 mistakes I saw. 5.
That is amazing. I don't know how. I'm gonna have to go back to that and try and figure out. I'm thinking my excuse now is that because I drive buses, I'm used to driving slowly and smoothly, and then I come back home, have my lunch. I thought, right, I'll go and race away, and then I just can't kind of get the focus right.
Better if you go slow and smooth. You probably find you go faster.
Yeah,
seriously, because you need the precision, less steering lock. Less stamping on the accelerator and the brakes at inappropriate moments. A lot less frustration.
Yep.
Because you're still... I mean, you were talking about the Eiger.
Yeah.
The nasty corner.
Oh, the bottom corner and the bottom right.
Yeah, that one thing. And you're going, I'm drifting around there. And I'm thinking, I wasn't.
Well, I tried both ways. And
I kind of like fed it in. Because a couple of times I just ended up smacking into the outer barrier. Yeah. So I went in slow and came out fast. And you are 10 seconds faster than me or something. I don't know. So, you got it. It's all relative, mate. It's all relative.
Ian's saying try it on the pad. I also had a comment from one of the... From my video I did the other day, and they were saying actually they're struggling on the pad completely after the update because it's made it difficult. I think because it's much harder not to brake and steer at the same time on a pad because you've got smaller movements when you're using a pad. But I think on the rally one, like they're got today, I think that might actually work. I might have to try that. Now, Simon's got a question for you, Roo.
Yes,
if Roo is in Buckingham Palace, what's the name of his butler?
I'm not in Buckingham Palace. I'm at Buckingham Palace because if you know the A.A. Milne rhyme from, I can't remember whether it's When We Were Very Young and Now We Are Six, they're changing guard at Buckingham Palace. Christopher Robin went down with Alice. That is how it starts. It's one of the... My mother, when I was little, all of us when we were little, she'd memorised pretty much all of the poems from When We Were Very Young and Now We Are Six. Yeah. And she used to read Winnie the Pooh to us and all this kind of stuff. So, and I did the same with my children, and even my horrible brothers and sisters did the same with all their children, and we all own it. And I still own it, and I read them to Helen. Yeah. And so last week I was Edward Bear, which if anyone knows anything about Winnie the Pooh is Winnie the Pooh's actual name. Though somebody did actually call me Edward in the chat last week, if you remember. And I'm like...
That's right. Okay. Yep, they did.
So this week I'm Alice.
Somebody's paying attention. That's the thing. So, he's trying to be... he's trying to be something I'm not sure. And Timothy has said, now I have a better feeling, but that will change when the new update comes. Yeah,
it was confirmed to me by Digit Racing, who has done if anybody wants, go to Digit Racing on YouTube, his channel. He does courses, but he's done a video on how to deal with the latest
update,
the latest physics. One of the things he said in it, he does it like a lesson. I mean, literally, it's like point 1, do this, point 2, do that. Like a PowerPoint presentation. Very succinct, very well described and explained, clear. But he did say, because we've been talking about the how it seems light. The steering seems light.
Yeah.
But I felt that there was some kind of feedback there, and it felt quite nice, just too light. They've reduced the force feedback in the game.
Right. Okay.
And part of that whole process is actually screwed up if you're on a Fanatec. If you got, I can't remember what the numbers are, but if you got update 355, people have been having real problems, and you need to update the firmware to 357, and then that should fix it. If not, you've got to get in touch with Fanatec. But unfortunately, I've also been hearing that Fanatec are absolutely awful.
Well, they're almost bust, weren't they? There was a Kyrith did a video saying they were almost declared bankrupt.
No way.
And the company that owns them, that tried to put money in, there was all sorts of things going on with all of that. So they're kind of wondering what to do. And there's different. Kyrith has done a huge amount of work on that, so he's probably the best person to watch to see how whether or not you should get in contact with Fanatec if you've got any issues with them. But they're similarly bust. No, it's quite and they were huge.
They are.
But I think they had lots of power struggles in the boards and the CEOs and things, and it all kind of went a bit funny.
It seems that we are on a better. You were moaning about your wheel being so crap.
Oh, I hate it.
And then you found out that you hadn't plugged it in.
Oh yeah, that was the funny thing. It had come out. And it came off. Actually, this wheel came off in my hand. It came because I've got these stupid screw things on it that you kind of turn, and they keep coming dislodged. And basically the wheel fell off. It came off in my hand, and I went upside down. And then I looked and I thought, the actual PowerPoint was half hanging out.
Just have fallen out. Well, in the same way, I complained. I did that first video where I'm basically going, "Woohoo! This is fun." At the Eiger, and then the next one, I'm trying to. Well, I'm spending a bit of time. I'm on the Nordschleife, my favourite track, and I can't get around to. Well, I couldn't get around the first corner before you start in my very well used Honda S2000.
Who's just said? Simon's just said, "Hugh, I hate it. You hadn't plugged it in."
And now suddenly he's able to do times. He's not. He's not happy, but he's able to do the times. Oh, that's better. Well, I discovered, which I showed in my next video, because last week I was saying to Fat Thingy, what's his name, Greasy Spoon.
Oh yeah, Greasy Sam Squatch, Joe.
Greasy Sandwich. That I just couldn't get the back end kept going. I don't understand why. Well, it's because somehow and this is the second time I've done it in GT7. I'd somehow changed the front tyres to racing softs and the back tyres to sports softs. So it doesn't do that anymore. And I've now set my fastest time ever in that car on the Nordschleife by like 10 seconds. So not so bad. Once I got a bit used to, I had to change how I drove a bit, but I quite enjoyed it. So I've had, like in my last video, I've had some excellent comments, especially by the likes of Simon. And you and stuff, but one guy was what's I saying? I somebody put in that I didn't seem to like it. It's I find it a lot better, and I'm like, well, I don't actually hate it. I like it. It's just it is so different, as you're finding out. You're a fast driver in this situation,
relatively,
and you're finding it difficult to adapt. It's changed so much, and it has changed so much. So it's going to take a lot of getting used to. Plus the fact, before they even did this, we talked about this, that we'd noticed that it was getting harder to get the times on
the time trials. Yeah, I definitely think the time trials have gotten harder, or it's kind of allowed. The people who are very good have really now dominated. They're really now even quicker. And because I used to get golds in the most part for just about all of them fairly quickly. It didn't take me too long, but now there's one I'm a bronze at, and then the Ferrari I can't get even a silver time. Killy has just won gold in 800. Yeah. Well, that's great. Oh, that's
I don't know who she is. I guess
with the British 800 meters one. That's my father. My father was Scottish champion.
Your father
at 800 meters.
Is Keely what's her face?
No.
This is going ridiculous.
My father won the Scottish. He was the Scottish champion in 1951 for 800 meters. So that's my
Were
only claim to fame.
Ever?
No, I was not a champion in anything. Anything. Maybe skiving. I'm quite good at skiving.
I reckon you know that Stilton race down the hill. when they're rolling the cheese and they've got to run after it. You'd be excellent at that. You just wouldn't run, you just roll after it. Roll the cheese, my turn. You'd beat the cheese down.
I'm good at rounders. We've had some insane games of rounders in the last few weeks. It's all because the kids wanted to play, and we've done it at school. We've done it at other people's houses. Said, let's have a game of rounders. And in that game of rounders, in the same field that we were playing rounders in, we decided to drive cars in. So Jonathan,
was that the field you sent me the video of?
Yes. So Jonathan had his little Mini. Yep. And I had the Dacia, and I was driving, and the kids were sitting on my knee.
I didn't realise that was John.
Yeah, that was John doing J-turns in his field.
Little half-hearted skids showing off he's got a handbrake.
But Nicholas loved it. So yeah, that's the thing when you're 10 years old and someone says, "Come on, come in the car, and I'll show you how to do a J-turn."
Didn't Gracie
have a smile on their face.
Gracie had a go as well.
Yes, she did. Yeah, she did. And she was good actually. We were trying to get them to go through the cones to kind of slalom the cones, but that took a bit because they kind of turn a little bit and they forget they've got to turn back. So it's kind of, but they got there in the end.
Best place to learn though. There were some trees nearby, but I used to do that kind of stuff in car parks. Sitting on my lap. Same idea. I'm doing the pedals and they're steering. So by the time they got to it,
easier when they can then do it themselves.
There was two specific places I took my two eldest to do it in the Ford Galaxy.
Oh yeah,
and they did. They were. I won't tell you how old they were, but they did the pedals and the steering and everything, and even reversed around a corner, and they got into third gear all by themselves.
I'm going to ask that question: for how young were our audience when they first had a go at driving? Let's see what we get. I was about 13, 14 when I had my first proper go at driving with the whole thing. It was actually in a Land Rover Defender, a brand new Land Rover Defender.
You have to be 14 to fit into that.
Yeah, it was.
I've driven a couple, and I basically ended up having a massive bruise on this arm.
Yeah,
the window open and do that.
Yeah.
I hate them.
And then I also had a session in a Austin Marina with none other than double World Ladies Rally Champion Louise Aitken-Walker.
Louise Aitken-Walker, who now won't talk to you.
Yeah, now she won't talk to me. I don't know why. I went up to the guy, I think because
hilarious.
it was
even Penny Mallory, who's never met me, answered my comment that I put in one of her videos. She's like a motivational speaker now, but I put in a comment going, loved watching you on Driven, loved watching you beat Jason Plato all the time, and had so much fun with you interviewing Colin McRae in your car. Because there's an interview of her interviewing Colin McRae in a Focus rally car. And then there's all these comments from these idiots that obviously don't know who she is, mostly Americans, going, that reporter seems to know what she's talking about. It's like in his car. And there's people that do know going, that's her car. It's not his car. They were in the same team. And yes, she did journalism. She co-presented Driven and all this kind of stuff. And she used to do the rallying. She was one of the team that presented the rallying on Channel 4.
Yeah.
But that's actually her rally car, not his.
Yeah. Well,
I
think Louise won't speak to me because we had an issue with a car we bought from her husband, who was a car dealer in Duns, and I think that's probably what did it. But that was a long time ago. That was like 10 years ago. I'm sure we'll eventually get back to have an interview.
So a Scottish car salesman sold someone a dodgy car. Most of them end up in an auction somewhere down in England and Wales, don't they?
I bought dodgy cars from all over the place. Durham was my best.
You were a dodgy car dealer once, were you not?
Helen's saying, I had a very quick go when I was 12 in a random car park somewhere. I'm not legally allowed to drive, though. So unfair. Yeah, that's where you're going to have to go off-road, isn't it?
She did have a go on the rig, though.
All right.
She had to go on the rig, and she was like, I'm going to be rubbish, because she's Welsh, and, the like. And but she was very good. She did fine. I did what I always do with people that can't drive at all. I take them to Special Stage Route X. So really don't have
you
to
can't hit anything there.
Well, you can, but it doesn't matter. You just get used to going along. And I force them to use, the good ones I forced to use the gear stick. and the clutch.
All right. Yeah. Because you've got that, haven't you? You've got the gear stick set up for yours.
Got the gear stick.
Yeah.
Crescent
Yeah.
front.
Yeah.
So, and on GT7 now, unlike GTS, which doesn't matter, if you pick specifically a manual gearbox, you have to use the clutch, or when you change gear, it goes.
All right. Oh, great. Okay.
So if you do so you have to push the clutch in, change gear, and then you can carry on. And it's great. So the reason why I wanted all that is because on GTS, especially when I'd crashed, which was always, and you're trying to pull off, and it wouldn't pull off. If you do it like gentle throttle, it wouldn't go anywhere. So you had to stamp on it, and then you go again.
Yeah.
So if you got the clutch, you can find a biting point, and at least you can get moving.
Yeah. I know that's the thing. That's the thing. I think we should also try and do one of these shows when we actually do it live on GT7. So what we'd have to do is probably use Discord. So you and I would speak through Discord, and maybe see if we could do it through OBS. I would stream it through OBS, and then that would do it pretty much.
If I got one of those Mexican machines, the El Gato, so isn't it based on what you got? Isn't that like a Mexican,
yeah, I've got an El Gato.
Isn't that a Mexican crocodile that you plug into your El Gato?
But I think you'd be able to do it.
Gato.
You would just come online with me and on Discord, and we could probably get Simon too. And then in turn we could talk through.
Yeah. But I'd still have to talk to you. I'd have to have some way of talking to you, and I no longer have any kind of decent.
But mine's just plug in and play on Discord. You just plug in and play. It'll go through your PC because you would speak to me through Discord, and then that.
How would I talk to you through the PC when I'm sat on the GT7, which is over there?
We'll have to figure that out. Perhaps someone in the.
I mean, I could probably get it on my phone and everything, but I no longer.
I think actually you can get Discord through the PS5, can't you? I think you can now get Discord on the PS5. That's right. ETR. I'm sure. I think you can. So that would work. We can maybe do that, or have a part. I don't think you can broadcast a party when I've got the Elgato running.
If you're streaming or connected another way, you can't do a party, which was the other way we used to do it.
Yeah.
But if you're streaming, I mean, me and Chris and
because it would be quite fun to do a lobby and make our own lobby. I think who would be up for joining us in a lobby? I know Larson was always keen to do a lobby, but it'd be all welcome.
We used to have an absolute laugh watching Vanessa effectively embarrass the two lads. It was funny.
Yeah.
Especially in rallying. And I used to sit there laughing at them, and I wasn't going to join them.
Ian said he would join us. So we could do that. Get a lobby sorted out.
Extra long wire. Thank you, Simon. Thank you so much.
And have to be on Dirt Rally. Oh, I don't know. I think we have to use GT7. We'd have to use GT7.
That's what was it Dirt Rally that you three used to do all those crazy things on? Basically smash into each other all the time.
Yeah. Well, there's a new Wreckfest 2 is coming out soon. Jeff Rowe myself did a GT Sports stream once, and we communicated through Discord. He would know. Yeah, I'm sure we've done it before. I'm sure we were on GT7 when I had it set up for streaming before. And then you I shared my screen with you, I think. And then you were able to see the OBS.
That was when I was commentating, though. It wasn't when I was sat on the in the stream.
Yeah, so
not on the stream, but when I was sat in the car. The times when it's been the other way is when I've been talking over like the phone or PlayStation app or something. Because we could do if you get one way we could do it and stream it is you can do a party over the PlayStation app on your phone.
Yeah.
You've got hands free because that's what I used to do.
Yeah.
You can talk over that on the hands free, but your PlayStation is then left free. The actual PlayStation.
Yeah, that's it to be able to work
to do its thing. But yeah, we'll find a way.
Just so that it could broadcast your voice as well, so that in terms of everyone who joins us that way.
Dirty rally. And it was very dirty and hilarious. It was very funny, actually. It was very, very good.
Well, we'll have to look into that because that would be quite nice because then we could start putting our own lobbies together and start doing the kind of combinations that we actually want to do. I think that would be quite fun. I think I fancy like radicals at Brands Hatch or different things like that. We can have some quite good, even that Honda race car at
Alice
Brands
at the
Hatch would be
back.
quite fun. That we'll give you. We can reverse the grid. We can reverse the grid.
Oh, that's going to make a big difference. When you're 12 seconds a lap slower than everybody else, that just means 4 corners and everyone's coming past you. Saying, and I quote, "That is kein Parkplatz, Indy. Why have you stopped here?" I'm not stopped. I'm just trying to take the corner. Hey, Paul's here. Hello,
yeah,
Paul.
Paul is here. But no, so no, we'll have to get a lobby together and see what we can do with that. That would be quite fun actually, and do some races. Now let's quickly discuss race C, because this is the one using the new track, the Eiger Norwind.
Been getting it so right. Think of Eider down.
Yes, Eiger and Eiger. So
you're eager for Eiger.
It's yeah. Now seemingly this is going to be a World Series race for the Gran Turismo World Series.
Said that in your comments
earlier on. I think it was Ian or Simon.
No, it was in the comments for your video.
Yes, but why would they do that if they're if they're trying to make a serious World Series race? Why would you have a Formula One car using comfort softs?
Maybe
that doesn't make sense.
Well, okay. If they're trying to make it authentic, maybe the grip of the tyres in the 1960s is equivalent to a comfort soft tyre. Because they are. I was surprised at Spa how much grip and braking those cars had.
Yeah,
I was actually quite surprised. I know you were whinging about it, but when I first drove them, I'm like, bloody hell, it shouldn't be this good. I was expecting it to just drift off every time you turn the steering wheel a little bit.
It did have quite a lot of grip, and if you just were kind of smooth with it, and you allowed
you're
for
racing
braking.
hards,
Yeah.
So
which are not great.
Stickier than I thought, and yet still better than comfort anything.
I wonder, because it's so light. That car is so light that will probably make the difference and make it work.
Basically, a tube with an engine on the
coffin
back.
with wheels.
I always remember. What's his bloody name? I can see his face. Peter, not Peter Collins. Oh, it'll come to me. He was Tony Brooks, not Peter. What the hell I'm talking about? Tony Brooks was one of the BRM drivers.
Oh, yeah.
He hated that car. He said the brakes were terrific.
Yeah.
Sterling Moss said the brakes were terrific. Power, very powerful, but all in the wrong place.
Yeah.
He said there was one situation, he was at Silverstone, I think it was, where and it had footage of it, black and white.
Yeah.
It's on the Power and the Glory, the old BBC TV show, which is available on YouTube. If you type it in, all of them are on there.
Yeah.
I've got them in a playlist. If you want to look at mine, look at one of my public playlists, it's there. Anyway, he says he's driving the car along and his throttle's stuck open. Approaching one of the corners at Silverstone, Cops or something like this. So he ended going a bit wide. He ended up a bit on the grass. He said, perfectly fine. You just end up a little bit wide and you should be able to carry on as if normal. Not this guy, he said. It's turned over, spat him out, luckily, barreled down the grass and then exploded. He said it did the only decent thing it could do and exploded and burnt. So, yeah. And this is why they didn't wear seatbelts, because they wanted to be spat out of the car.
Yeah, it's safer to be thrown out.
Because if you're still in the car, you ended up like Sterling Moss, bless him, at Goodwood.
Yeah.
If you see pictures of that car, it's basically a mangled banana. Or Jackie Stewart when he was stuck at Spa at the Master Kink.
Yeah.
With the thing filling with avgas. And people standing around going... this English Scottish man is this. What is this liquid? And of course, it was a fantastic story of an interview with Graham Hill, who span on the same bit of water, but luckily didn't come off.
Yeah.
He looked down, and this is a that looks like Jackie down there. It doesn't look so good. So he got out of his car, ran down there. He's trying to get him out, but the steering wheel had jammed on his legs, and he couldn't get him out.
Goodness.
No tools, no anything. He's filling with fuel.
Yeah.
They had to run across the track, find a spectator who had some tools in their car so that they could take the steering wheel off to get him out. Then he's got all this avgas burning his skin because it's soaked into his clothes. So of course he gets out. Well, I took his clothes off to burn it, and then I went to go and get someone to get an ambulance. 3 nuns appeared, found this young man lying on a bale of hay, and thought, "What's going on here?" and started to put the clothes back on him. I came along and get away, get away. Heaven knows what they thought. There's this middle-aged old man and this young buck-naked lad. Like you say, they had so much more character in those days.
Yeah. I think we need to find more of these stories. There must be books on these stories that we could read. We could use for our chat. I think that would be quite interesting, wouldn't it? Have our famous F1 stories. We need to learn them. Hollywood couldn't write it exactly, and I'm sure Brad Pitt's movies will be something. Brilliant race history here, fantastic. So that's one you've got.
Murray Walker.
Yeah, actually, there'll be some good ones from Murray Walker.
How to Build a Car by Adrian Newey.
You know, I've still
Moss, Grand Prix Motor Racing, Sterling Moss, Fast Cars. That might not have so many. So there you go. We've got the possibilities. I'm finding them in charity shops, as is the Helen, as she's book mistress. She's thousands of books.
Yeah,
she's lack of the books.
I've got somewhere. I need a tape player to play it, though. I've got Nigel Mansell's audio book read by Murray Walker that I got for a birthday many years ago.
Does he deliberately mix up some of the sentences so we know it's Murray Walker?
And
this sentence is the first sentence of the book, apart from the last 3 chapters that I've read. Stuff like that. So we got Simon. What's he just said? Tony Brooks. Yeah, driver not appreciated, but very fast. Very fast.
Yeah,
one of my pictures. Let me do this again. Now I've got this.
Paul's met Murray Walker. Oh, that would have been when shopping. My goodness.
So I have my pictures up there. Now the one at the top is Mike Hawthorne, and is a painting of a print of Mike Hawthorne and Peter Collins being chased down by Fangio in the greatest Formula One race ever. I think one of these is definitely Tony Brooks, but I can't remember which one now.
Yeah.
I love my pictures.
Because you were saying your top 3 is it Fangio, and then Jim Clark, and then
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know because Senna. Verstappen's annoyingly good. I really don't want to like him, but he's probably. Alonso.
I like Jean Alesi. To me, Jean Alesi was the French Sicilian.
Not that good. Come on.
But he had so many races where he broke down in the Ferrari. But when he won in Canada
won one, though.
in 1995, I cheered when he won. When he won in 1995, it was at Canada when he won. When Jean Alesi won, and he was in tears on the slowdown lap, nearly crashed. So it was it was a thing that.
I know, but that's just like there's okay. If we want to go there, David Coulthard.
Yeah, I've met him. To be fair, I have actually met him.
Number 3 is probably Jackie Stewart, actually.
Yeah.
How the hell could I forget that? Like my hero. Idiot. But Jackie Stewart. But Senna, Senna was amazing, but he was not perfect. He was flawed.
Yeah.
Max, as Ian said, he's not there yet, but he seems to be about the most complete driver at the moment. I used to get so upset, so disappointed by Lewis because you think he's doing such an amazing job and everyone's saying how brilliant he is, and then he'd make some stupid, dumb mistake. And you're like, oh. And Max just kind of doesn't.
Yeah. No, that's true. He keeps going. He's got his concentration. Yeah.
That Hockenheim new circuit that year where everyone's coming off the track and then they got that little bit of drag racing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're all sliding over that because it's just ice,
Yeah.
And it's the one where Vettel got out and was kicking the car because he'd screwed up. Remember? Max won it, didn't he?
Yeah.
And he won it by just being so much better than everybody else in the wet, even the Rainmaster Hamilton, who still came off.
Yeah,
it just
an issue,
and Alonso. Alonso's another one that he's just got a canny head on his shoulders, super fast, a fierce overtaker as well. Max is too aggressive. He needs to sort of like dial it back a bit. He's got a bit of that Senna-esque, Schumacher-esque. I come past you now.
If you turn in, we have an accident. Yeah.
Well, was it? This is a Brundle quote because they were racing toe to toe in F3, weren't they?
Yeah.
The Brundle quote, it goes that Senna had the attitude that he was coming past. It was up to you whether you crashed.
Yeah. That was.
But yeah, I mean,
it's something else, isn't it? Yeah, that is what it's like. That no, it's quite a thing. That
see if Simon. So Simon's talking about Murray Walker's. I'll just say that I've not met him, but one of my ex-best friends met at the same British Grand Prix. It was one of the most important ones for the year for Schumacher to win that championship.
Yeah,
big time, big thing. And Dave Rossiter, his name was, got to meet Ross Brawn, who I've got a soft spot for.
Yeah, he is.
He took 10 minutes. He literally took because he worked with his daughter in advertising. In his advertising, so he had free tickets because I think Vodafone was one of their clients. But
that's right for McLaren at the time. Yeah.
But also for the time it was.
Oh, Ferrari. For Ferrari, yeah, for Ferrari, yeah.
And he took 10 minutes out of an incredibly important busy day just to come and talk to 5 or 6 of his daughter's friends. And he was the most wonderful guy. And every time, I loved seeing interviews with him where it's like when they're all that stuff, like Barge Gate. Remember the barge boards?
Oh, yeah.
Barge Gate, or there's the double diffuser stuff, all this kind of stuff. And he goes, and the idiot reporter would say, what can you tell us about this? And he goes, I'm not going to tell anything about that right now. And they go, instead of what Christian Horner does, which is blah 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 blah. Nice clouds in the sky, isn't it? Woo, yes. It's like,
and we're keeping Perez.
BSing and just say I don't want to tell you. Just do Doris Brawn used to do, which is say nothing.
For a stupid question.
Afterwards, when it all was done in the courts, he explained it. He actually said, right, this is what the situation was. This is what we were fighting. This is why we were fighting it. Thank you very much. And you're like, shouldn't you be trying to hide everything and making up story? What are you doing in Formula One? You really shouldn't be there. This is not the... I don't get it. But I'd love him. But he also met Murray Walker. He had photographs of him and all this kind of stuff standing with him and said he was an absolutely lovely bloke. But I was going to ask Simon, what was... So Simon knows he was working in advertising. Can you remember what company he was working for and what the party trick was when they were trying to sell the product to people? See how that's my question to the chat.
Now, Paul said we both met in the same shop in Southampton shopping centre. That was, I always remember Murray Walker doing the Montego advert and the Metro advert with Nigel Mansell. And it was a classic.
Didn't he have Damon Hill as well? Did they have Damon Hill as well?
That was further on. But I think it had Eric Idle, who was the salesman, and then Murray came in to buy a car, or Mansell came in to buy a car. And then when he went out to drive out of the showroom, he crashed into Mansell. And then Murray gets out of the car and says, "What are you doing, you crazy?" And then he realized, oh, it's Nigel or something like this, or whatever, or it's Murray or one of the around. It was brilliant. In those days,
adverts were better in those days. Remember? I mean,
they could do anything.
Adverts just give me a headache.
Oh, the modern ones are terrible.
And they all go, Domino's Pizzas is constant on YouTube. We don't do things by halves, unless it's half price. And I'm just going.
There was a great one, though, with Murray Walker, Damon Hill, and Michael Schumacher in a restaurant. Was not having pizzas, I think. Was not Pizza Hut.
Isn't he commentating on everything they're doing?
Yeah.
It was like, really... Murray?
Yeah, it was like, and you finished. Hill finishes second again. It was like, and that was in front of Schumacher.
Paul.
Opal Fritz.
So
it was an Ann Summers. Goodness me.
Murray, what are we talking? Murray Walker, or was on a?
No, we were in the same shop. It must have been Murray Walker.
Well, I don't know.
Well, he did like his pit girls.
Mr. Relative was saying that wait until at Sainsbury's. He says, "Go, go, go."
Yeah.
The open foot stuff. But it was. I think it was Mars.
Well, I don't. Well, they
and
said
Mark,
he made them hours a day, helps you work, rest, and play, but I don't know if it was actually him.
The other thing they did was pet food.
All right,
And
yeah.
they used to have to eat it to show that it was edible and how good it was to people they were trying to sell it to.
Goodness me.
Yeah, I mean, I did work for Dalgety Spillers, which was Arthur's and Felix Cat Foods and.
My goodness. Mind you, well, he did live till he was 97 or about 99. He was so.
Trill the Bird feud. I can imagine if he ever went to. Sorry, I'm thinking of James Hunt again now. Because all the journalists would have to go and talk to him. They had to go and sit. He was always in his canary aviary.
Yeah, that's right.
All the birds were stoned. He's there.
And
all the birds going, tweet man.
Falling off the perches. They'd be falling off the...
I want to fly. What the hell? Fantastic. Oh, James Hunt. There's two people you see that just stuck in my head as a young child, 70s, obviously. You got James Hunt. Yeah. I didn't know very much about. I just remember James Hunt, world champion, and Barry Sheen. Oh, such a big fan of Barry Sheen. Barry Sheen was fantastic.
Yeah,
I love it. He was so Cockney, Cockney normal bloke. He was a motorcycle courier in London before he became famous.
Yeah.
And he was being asked because, you've ridden a lot in London. They were talking about, motorcycle accidents and how unsafe they are and all this kind of thing. And talking about in London how the black cab drivers just pull out, straight out. They don't even bother looking. It's like, yeah. And the bikes kept getting smacked into. And they were trying to get him to say something about it, sensible. So what do you think of of the dangers for bikes on the road, especially with the cab drivers in London? He goes, well, I don't really know anything about that. All I know is 2 billiard balls in a sock makes a hell of a dint on the roof. I just thought, your ordinary man's hero. And he invented the back protector. How many people's spine is easy by inventing the back protector? And he invented the smoker's helmet. Drilled a hole in the front of the helmet to stick. So when he's on the grid, doesn't have to take his helmet off to light a fag.
To smoke.
Just so good. What a guy. Loved him. Always had a smile on his face.
Yeah,
basically made out of titanium.
What it was it now? It's Magnussen. Oh, it was Jan Magnussen. The father of Thingy Magnussen, Kevin Magnussen. He used to smoke, and Jackie Stewart got a bit fed up. I remember once on one of when they used to have the Grand Prix show at the start of the season with the Australian chap. Oh, he was he was like he died a few years ago. Clive James. He used to do it when it was ITV that had it.
Yes,
and he did these great shows. There's some of them are on YouTube. And he used to interview the drivers.
And he did a special on F1. Remember?
Yeah, he did a few.
F1.
Yeah, he did a few. And basically Jackie Stewart was there at the time when he employed Jan Magnussen. And he says, I'm only going to keep Jan if he stops smoking. He needs to get healthier. He needs to get fitter. And that. So that was
so focused. I mean, how he got. There's a big contrast in because I've had a bit of a fascination with sort of psychology for a long time. So I think I've said a few times, and the psychology of racing, which is why when you were talking about that AAC races where I was being your head engineer, race engineer, it made sense to me to do that because why is it that DC? We've seen DC do some terrific racing, amazing overtakes. We saw him grow as a driver and improve and all this kind of stuff, and they all kept saying, "Oh, he's too nice. He's too nice to be a racing driver. He's too much of a gentleman." And it's like, well, I don't think so. I don't think Jackie Stewart would be considered a nasty racing driver. And look how successful he was.
Yeah.
But then you remember when BAR came along and they were like, oh, we've got all this British American tobacco money. Some, what have they got? Devil's lettuce money. False naturality. And all this money, and they've got this amazing American team, and they've got Jacques Villeneuve and the guy in charge, can't remember his name now. It was a Paul something. was in charge of the team, and he was saying, we'll be winning by points by the end of the first year, and they'll be winning and all this kind of stuff. And it took them 10 years to win a Grand Prix because they were crap.
They had some terrible
awful.
runs,
Jackie Stewart comes along, Paul Stewart Racing, and it's like, okay, the new 5 years before we even get points, mate. I mean, it's not happening. Points by the end of the season. Remember, he was crying. He's got his tartan cap on, crying his eyes out, and he was at Monaco of all places. And then they're winning races with Barrichello and Johnny Herbert and all this kind of stuff. Such a completely different attitude. But you could tell. I mean, it was Paul's team effectively. But the dad of the team, the motivator, was Jackie Stewart. And I can just imagine. And I've met him, and he's intense. He's intense, and he's what's the word I'm looking for? Focused as hell, right? Mm-hmm. I can imagine he's not someone that shouts and tells you off. I think he's the kind of person that you just instinctively wants to do your best for. He expects the best, and he treats you well, but he expects the best. So you want to do the best for him. He's got that sort of quality to him. And that's, I think, what made the difference. Because, of course, as soon he saw the writing on the wall, he's a canny businessman. He's Scottish, for God's sake, come on. He's a canny businessman. Sold it to Ford because he saw the writing on the wall. He knew that unless you had that kind of money, you're not going to be able to. And he had good. I think he had the second highest sponsorship in F1. Behind McLaren. And I mean, for God's sake, he had Malaysia. The country.
Yeah, that's right.
The government to sponsor the F1 team. It wasn't like a company. It was the country. But he saw the writing on the wall, and he sold it to Ford. And Ford went, "Oh, hey man, we can do Jaguar here because So what do? They immediately replace anyone with a brain cell with 5 committees. Immediately, it's one of the worst cars on the grid.
It's something else, isn't it, when it goes like that? I remember
they turned it around, but even that took a few years to turn around the mess that they'd left it in.
I remember, I'm sure it was Ferrari. They said that they made about £450 million of profit, or that for the year which they were able to invest into the team, into the Formula One team. And the vast majority, it wasn't coming from sales of the cars. I mean, they did make good money from the cars, but it was all the merchandise. Every year, the Ferrari merchandise store must sell millions and millions across the globe. Because you think, in America, in Japan, all over the place, they're very, very big. And of course, Abu Dhabi and Dubai, they're very, very big across there. They've got the Ferrari world across there as well. Don't
worry, what I'm talking about. I'm just
there's spank the like button hard. It's like my blow up doll.
But the previous one, Murray liked his bikes.
He liked his bikes,
He didn't just like his bikes. He was a bike racer.
Yeah.
He used to do Isle of Man and road racing. Mm-hmm. And he, in his words, he stopped doing it because he realised it was rubbish compared with all these good ones. But his dad was a multiple TT winner, and a champion. He was incredible. But he did. Because of that, he ended up doing the very BBC in those days, jolly good, commentary. And then he kind of got his son into it, and that's how we ended up. But he started out by doing bike commentary.
By the way, I did interview, this is kind of digressing a wee bit, my uncle from Canada, who was a rally driver, but he couldn't get his phone to work on StreamYard. So we couldn't record the show. Which was really annoying because he got into all the stuff he'd done, like he'd done the Baja rally in South America. He's done all these amazing rallies. He did them in Europe in a Trabant, and I had some incredible stories. But unfortunately, I've not been able to record that. But we might hopefully try again at some point, and we'll get another interview. So this week's we're going to have a new time trial this week on Thursday.
I've got 2 days to try and get that one at least near bronze instead of 500 millionth in the queue or something, whatever it is at the moment.
Well, I'm about 2 or 3 seconds away from gold on the wet one at Red Bull Ring. So I don't know. It's going to take a long. I'm going to try and go back to.
So are you in the silver now?
No, I'm about 4/10 away from silver. bronze.
Oh yeah, so you left
Bronze,
it where you were, where you were like, because
yeah.
I told you the time, didn't I? And
Yeah, I
you
think
thought
it's like
you
a
were further away,
41.
but
You
it
need like a
was.
41-1, I think, to get.
It might have changed. I think it's updated a little bit, but it was a 9.719 or something like that, or 0.719. The next second ahead of yours. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I was quite pleased that we're both in bronze.
Well, I'm going to try and
You
at least try
laughed
and
at
get
me because
silver.
my bronze was 13 seconds slower than yours. But it's not anymore. I've now improved. I didn't look what it was earlier, but I can't remember now.
Well, that's all right. It shows you're, but it's just tricky, isn't it? They're making it. They make the combination so different as well. So you've got to be able to kind of have a good general skill to be able to kind of do them all now. So we're all going to have to work harder. We're going to have to get fitter, get our reactions even faster, to try and be able to. No more Coca-Cola. It's got to be Highland Spring now. You see, got to have the water.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually filled with vodka.
Oh, that comes out of the tap. That in Wales, does it? That
the resource we have and sell cheap to Birmingham, Liverpool, Bristol. Cymru.
Yeah. So to be fair, a lot of people, I noticed Rory was playing race B today, and also Key. So I think they've all kind of decided that maybe race B is the one, which is the Suzuka race in the Group 3, because that seems to be quite a decent overall. Quite, it's a good track, to be fair, and a good combination. And I think you get 5 or 6 laps there, which is quite good.
Coming from a southerner, that's rich. That is the closest thing I've had to a southern pint. Okay, was in Ipswich, and it was Abbott's Ale, and I think sheep's piss is
may have been more nutritious.
I was just thinking of flavour. Sheep's piss has probably got a lot more flavour than what that Abbott's Ale was.
Now that's the thing. Well, on that note, we will bring the show to a close. We'll be going an hour and 10 minutes of.
Am I allowed to? Hour and 10 minutes? That's a bit short for us, isn't it? Usually it's like hour and a half.
Usually, but I've got kids in bed, so my wife had said, right, you have to make sure.
She's got a new rolling pin, has she?
Yeah.
We love Yvonne. Yvonne is someone you need in a fight. On your side.
No, that's the one. And we actually used the rolling pin almost, so it looked like a rolling pin for the big game of rounders we played the other day. So, and I said, let Yvonne get that, and I was going to take a photograph. I was going to take a photograph.
Invented car football. You could have invented car rounders, where you hit it, and then one of the cars has to get it.
Has to go round. Yeah, we'll have to go all the way round.
Oh, yeah, that would.
You have to go all the way round, isn't it?
The car has to go round the things, not the person.
And not kill anyone.
The cars could be fielders and it bounces off the bonnet. But no, that's better.
Yeah.
Your idea is better,
so
you see. Together we make a good team. Individually, not so much.
Well, look, thank you to everyone who's been watching tonight and who's commented or who's been listening.
I just wanted to possibly share the incredibly passive-aggressive, not passive-aggressive, just really triggered. I sent it to you.
Comment. Oh yeah, the one on WhatsApp, but you'll need to share it. Yeah, if you share it with me,
I don't know if I can read it out. I might be able to share it. Hold on, give me a second.
Or just read it. Yeah, it's
Oh no, hold on, calm down. God, man.
Everyone is.
I'll read it out as well.
To hear. Here we are. They want to hear this great.
So the one that no, that one. Don't need audio. So.
Yeah, here we are.
So if Simon, the one that you commented was at an abrupt end, and I was just playing around and trying to get.
I don't know if I can get that.
I mean, literally, bigger. I didn't make any other comment other than the text that I put up and showing how ham-fisted my driving was and stuff like that.
You might have to read it out. You're going to have to read it out because I don't think that's legible.
This is someone that's got 2 followers and no content whatsoever and all this kind of stuff, no pictures you can see. The game is self-proclaimed the real driving simulator, despite driving more than an arcade game. The recent update brought it closer to driving in real life with more realistic weight transfer. An updated suspension and tyre model. Definitely American, can't spell tyre. Model that behaves more like real life driving. There's a difference between driving a car around town and pushing it to its limits around a circuit. If you think that they're trash, it's because you don't understand how a car truly behaves when at its limits. It's not the game, it's your bad habits you have to break.
So there you go.
Yes. Thank you. And
I would love comments like that. I love to get comments. I do get a few comments, but that's a good one. That's a cracker.
I don't know how old this guy is, but I doubt he's 55. And he's in America, so I doubt if he's ever driven a car that can go round a corner, never mind trundling around town with a 3-speed slush matic.
Oh, we're gonna have.
I'm too old to care. I mean, look, one of my everybody knows one of my favourite cars on Gran Turismo 7 is the one I call the Judge, which is an 1100 horsepower, 7-speed Corvette C7. I love that car so much. It's so overpowered. It really teaches you throttle discipline. Because you can't go anything. You just, until you're like already doing about 150 mile an hour and you're in top gear, you can't go near the full throttle depression. Because you just go, woohoo! It's just too much power and torque. But no, I mean, I've been driving for over 36 years now as a fast road driver, not a poodling around town person. I've granted, I've never driven on a track. So, yeah, I don't claim to be a really good track driver. I'm a pretty damn good road driver, though.
I had a great comment from a customer on one of my bus trips. I was driving from Wooler to Chatton, and the lady got off at Chatton and said, I was hanging on there before I got off. Because he says, you must have been a rally driver before you were a bus driver. And so I replied saying, well, I always wanted to be a rally driver, but yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean, but it's this whole concept. I mean, for a start, patronising as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, but also the thing in that video, literally just commenting on the physics. But anyway, whatever. But it's just to end in all those put downs and I know more than you and all this kind of stuff. It's like, but do you? Because you're so stupid, you come out with something like that. But it's good because now, these days, if I see something that insulting, I just ignore the rest of it. I just ignore them. It's like, what the hell? So I said, thank you for your insight. That was my reply.
That was it. That's the way to do it. We've got Woody Boy, who is the champion of race A with a 14.5, 1 minute 14.5 on race A.
Ian, you'll see. You're not good enough.
Ian's only half a second away.
I am joking, Ian. I'm not actually being serious. Remember,
so we need to now. Woody Boy very kindly gave me some tips, and he says high gears or short shift, and be very precise. But he's done a phenomenal time. In fact, I even put it in my video when I showed him on the friends list at the top of the board there, and he was a whole 6 seconds plus quicker than me. So I've got a long way to go.
Quick question for Woody Boy then: do you find that Subaru, the Scooby-Doo, is a bit tail happy? Do you find it a little bit combinate because it's 4-wheel drive? You put too much power, you understeer, but then when you plant it from slow, you also then the back end tends to sort of try to step out. I've always found Subarus a bit weird in the way that they deploy the 4-wheel drive.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
It's a short wheelbase car as well. That 3-door
short wheelbase car. They also tend to have a sort of a slight. They can have a. And again, not that I understand how cars work or anything about the physics of them, but they tend to have a bit of a rear bias on the 4-wheel drive.
Yeah, that's it.
But the engine's at the front, so it's light, but power's going to the rear.
I found it very snappy, very hard to work out how to catch it. Either way, very
that's what
very
I meant
tricky.
About the back end stepping out when you, and I'm wondering whether that's why Woody Boy was saying to short shift up.
So it's a wee bit more controlled.
And then when you're trying to turn, you're getting less torque on the front as well, so you don't understeer so much. So you just get all around more control.
Yeah,
that's what. What do you say, Woody Boy?
Woody Boy is going to have to join one of our one of our lobbies. I actually found the
Balanced,
Subaru well balanced, to be honest. Can't compare to real life.
Nothing can. It's always
Yeah,
more fun.
yeah,
I have driven one of those. That is one of the cars I've
yeah,
driven, and I found it incredibly positive. Incredibly
yeah,
positive turning on the real car. This was
yeah.
a 350 horsepower version, souped up
Wow.
of that era
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Subaru.
the Impreza WRXs were the ones that was after. I remember I drove one in 2005, 2006, but it was it was the most up to date generation. It was a company car in action, and they were incredible. They were so easy just to jump in and drive fast.
It was about that
They were
era.
great.
When
Yeah,
I drove it, it was on the road. It wasn't at Millbrook or any of your posh things that you do.
yeah.
You
That
know.
well, similarly, there was a Subaru dealer. It was Dennis Common Cars in Long Framlington, and he used to sell Subarus. And one time there's a very long straight out as you go out of Long Framlington, and the police always used to sit there with their speed cameras. And similarly, they caught poor old Dennis doing about 140 miles an hour. Oh, he's got a 114.
See,
No.
my Japanese encouragement, my Asian tiger mother, because I'm his Asian tiger mum. That I better stop saying. Has encouraged him to go faster. See, I'm taking all the credit for that.
So you mainly have to
bringing the
focus
best
on
out
getting
of
the
him.
power down without spinning the wheels up. Yeah, because it's like that, like the third or the fourth corner, that long left-hander. It's so easy just to spin the wheels the whole way through.
With that amount of power, because it's like 470 odd horsepower or something. It's 478, I think it is.
Yeah, yeah,
In the game. I mean,
yeah.
as you're playing.
Aye. No, it's a fact. It makes a great noise. I have to say the engine sounds quite good. I quite like it. But it's just I'll need to work on how to get that car to
471.
work.
471.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
quite a lot.
yeah, for that kind of car, isn't it?
And again, like Greasy was saying last week, the engines now, the power output. I remember when they had the the Escort Cosworth, which anyone that knows,
Yeah,
unlike me who know nothing, anyone that knows anything about those cars knows that it's actually a Ford Sierra, but with a cut down wheelbase and different panels. Only
yeah,
the bottoms of the doors are the same as an actual Escort, which is why
mm,
it's longitudinal engine, 4-wheel drive, but they needed a shorter wheelbase for the rallying.
yeah,
Remember, they used to do the 500 horsepower ones. You could get them souped up to 500
yeah,
horsepower.
yeah.
But the power curve went something like this. I'm a two-stroke. I mean, talk about you've got to keep it on boost. And
Yeah,
to be on boost, I don't know what variety of Garrett turbo it was, but it wasn't a T35. It was probably a T50,000,
yeah.
a windmill. But yeah, now you get this kind of stuff going on. 500 horsepower is almost nothing.
Yeah.
And they've got, from a 2-litre turbo, you're getting 500 horsepower with hardly any lag.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah.
a torque curve like that.
Yeah.
You're like, how?
Well, we used
How the
to.
hell are they doing that?
John's dad used to have imported Subaru Imprezas that were twin turbos. I think that's the new Corvette is over 1,000 horsepower. My goodness, I've not seen that one yet. Is that the new ZR1, or is that the one that?
I don't know. The new Corvette's the mid-engine one, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
The mid-engine.
Yeah.
So it's what do they call it? The C8? Is it the C8? Or is there a new one?
The ZR1 DTR is saying, "Wow."
No wonder Super GT isn't here. He's streaming.
Yes, he has
nearly a million.
Yeah, but he has. To be fair, he has popped in a couple of times on my streams.
Yeah, he seems like a
which is very
decent fella,
kind.
actually.
Yeah. And he
he's
just
been
won
on
a
so
race.
many
He
times.
won his class at the Nürburgring race that they did in a
he?
Group 4 BMW. I saw it on Twitter. He had put it on Facebook. He won his class,
Fair play.
and he got pole position. So he's done really well. So yeah, no.
I mean, I was looking because it's coming up to my 5th anniversary of being on the show.
Yeah.
I was just like looking back, showing Helen the very first one. Sent her a link to it. Like, this is how bad it used to be,
and that was an improvement over what it had been. So
it wasn't an improvement a couple of 3 weeks ago, was it?
Oh, that's all right. But no, now we've got it. We've got it sorted out.
Yeah, I drink less. Very simple. I can see one of you. So, yeah, but the just noticing how many times the likes of Super GT's been on your show.
Yeah, I went about 4 times.
Yeah, it's more than
4 times.
There's a few that have done 3. You've had a few that
Yeah.
have done 3 that are quite popular.
David Perel.
Dave Perel.
Josh Martin.
We've got to get Dave Perel. I love Dave Perel. He's such a decent, humble guy, but bloody hell, what a racer.
Yeah.
I watched that Spa 24 Hours a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Where he was driving in the Ferrari 488 with his team.
Yeah.
And they won their class in pouring rain. Superb.
What's the betting they make a Gran Turismo 2 movie from Super GT and Jimmy B's recent racing experiences? Well, you wonder, yeah.
I think I'd rather watch that one. At least I can shout at the screen knowing what really went on then. I don't even know what this other fella is. I'd probably shout more that they got the shed wrong. Jimmy Broadbent's shed, isn't he famous for having a shed?
Well, they'd have to, if they're going to put Super GT on it from his life story, they've got to put my show when I interviewed him and nearly killed him. When he was feeling really off, it'd be like they would have to put that on it. Surely. I'll forgive Polyphony for all of the terrible combinations.
Yes, I remember that. He was really feeling rough, and then he went and
he was fine at the start, and then all of a sudden, I think it was the lighting in his room, and it started.
So it wasn't the questions you were asking.
No.
Did you not go through that series where you've been watching too much Formula One modern interviewing? How do you feel about your new racing? Tell me your emotions on lap 7. Can I tell you about the car? Nobody cares about your car.
It was shocking. Oh, it's shocking now. But yes, you never know. But that was a very good point, though, Woody Boy. I bet they'll be desperate to do another Gran Turismo. I think it was quite a low budget movie. And I don't know if it made any money or not.
Well, it's stupid because the guy who's the shouty trainer guy, he's a really good actor. I've seen him in a few films. If you watch Equalizer 2.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that's right. Yeah, he was in Violent Night, which was hilarious. Violent Night.
Oh, look, that film's
so good.
Much.
It's so funny.
It's one of the best Santa movies I've ever seen.
It is. I went to see it at the cinema when COVID had finished with my wife and I was laughing at all the inappropriate moments.
Which is what it was for.
And I got it was nobody else was laughing.
He was in what's that TV show I've only watched one episode of? Stranger Things.
Yeah, he's been in quite a few big movies.
Oh yeah,
he was the baddie in one of the Liam Neeson movies as well. I'm sure he was like the mass murderer in one of the Walk Amongst the Tombstones, I think it was.
I don't know. But, he's done lots of things.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. That is the thing. Well, we will draw it to a close. It's an hour and a half.
I will not drag it any longer.
But thank you to everybody who has been watching and watching or listening. Hit that like button and that subscribe if you've never been here before to keep up with the great content.
Well done, Ian.
Produce.
Top job.
Yeah, it's it was a relief from the recent movie industry, wasn't it? It was good fun. But no, it's been great.
I'm saying about Ian getting his 114. I just wanted to.
Oh yeah, that's a phenomenal thing. And well done to Woody Boy.
Really getting better. Don't get
we
big-headed.
Need to get Woody Boy on. I know you keep saying he's not going to do it, but we can surely persuade him.
We've got to get Simon on. I get nagged.
Yeah, and Simon. Well, we're going to come on
Simon's
next week.
Always meant to be coming on. I want to see Simon on it.
I will get he needs to send me an email on the Discord, and then I'll get him on next week if he's available.
Take a break from making zoological animal films.
Olympics. The Olympics will be finished by then.
No, so, have you not? Do you not even look at his channel?
Well, yeah, when some of the stuff comes on.
Of cute
yeah, when he's out for the day. Yeah. No, that's it.
I don't know. It might be where he's working.
No, that's the thing. But thank you to everybody who's been watching and listening, whether it be on Podbean or on YouTube or anywhere else that you might get your content from. It's been great to have you alongside. A big thank you to Rue, who, as always, gives a fantastic opinion and great comments from F1 and GT7.
We'll be Kanga back. And Rue, by the way.
So that's where it comes from.
E8 Shepherd.
Oh, yes.
Proper. We're not talking Disney crap. We're talking the proper illustrations from the books.
Well, there you go. But it's great to see you all. Have a fantastic week. Drive fast, but make sure you drive your bus on Comfort Softs. Bye just now. I was waiting to get that one in. We'll see how many people get. Take care, everyone. Bye just now.